every year the Interfaith Council throws a large service day for the city. It was becoming clear with COVID-19 that wasn't going to happen this year, and the city was already getting phone calls that seniors were needing help. And so Community Services asked if we could pivot our attention, redirect our efforts, and that's how the program, at least the idea of it, started. So normally the way we work is we say yes and then figure out how to do that, and actually Care Connections Network and Lutheran Disaster Response really came in and made it possible to start.
We have a funding relationship, an existing relationship with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, of which Lutheran Disaster Response is a part. They asked me to submit a grant proposal, which I did, and at that point they gave us the funding to purchase the meals that we are now distributing to people that are at need in our community.
I'm surprised by the need that we have. Obviously, I know that people are needy, and normally when I think of needy people, we think of the homeless or we think of the hard poor. But in this case, these are your neighbors. These are people living in apartments. These are people who have lived in Huntington Beach for decades. These are people who are part of our community. So I'm surprised at the people we're connected to that may have been someone living right next door. And as the need increases, so our abilities have increased, and so God's blessed us that way.
Hi everyone. My name is Bob Ewing. I'm one of the pastors here at First Christian Church, as well as a chaplain at the Huntington Beach Police Department. I'm walking through the same world you're walking through right now. It's a world that's dark and kind of eerie. We're uncertain about what's going on. We're afraid. We're not sure what's going to happen. But let me tell you where I find my hope. It's January of this year, and everything is going well in our country. We have great economy. Unemployment is at a low. Seniors in high school, I have a granddaughter who's a senior. Seniors in high school are ready to begin their last semester in school. Sports teams are practicing, they're starting to play their games. It's all exciting. We're hopeful. But all of a sudden this nasty little bug hits, COVID-19. We don't know what to do. We're losing jobs, we're losing people, we're losing everything we seem to have. And so we're in darkness. We're walking through a horrible time. But we will still have something to look forward to. Let me encourage you to stay distant as you ought to. Keep in contact with other people, family, friends, by phone, by email. Yeah, you can't hug your family right now, but that's okay. Everything's going to work out. And don't forget the fact that there are other people out there that need your touch. So let me encourage you to phone them, to email them, to let them know that you're thinking about them. But just remember, okay, we're all going through this together. And so let's have a great time remembering each other and taking care of each other.
Well, I'm trying to keep very busy. I think there are still so many things that need to be done in our city, and it's a city that I love and want to see it at its very best, even during this pandemic. I think that many lives continue and many lives need help, and I think that we who are healthy, that's one of the responsibilities we have to our community and to the people who live here. I think what I've noticed and I'm most proud of is how people have come together in Huntington Beach and elsewhere. The wonderful things they're doing for their first responders and the medical personnel who are there taking care of those that are sick. And it's a time, it's a terrible time, and it's something that none of us have ever experienced. And so we try things that work, we try things that don't work. But I think that the majority of our population always wants to do what is right and what is best for everyone who lives here. Although it's a whole new world and I've had to learn some new techniques. Zoom has become not a favorite of mine, but certainly something I respect, knowing that that's how we can communicate with one another. So it's a busy time, which I never thought I would say that. I try to get out every day to take a walk and to be out in nature. I'm still with the Bolsa Chica group, and of course the wetlands continue to be a part of this community and something that we oversee to make sure that they stay healthy. So our role continues, and we meet once a month via Zoom and talk about what is happening with the wetlands. So I think there is something that everyone can do, even if it's just to abide by the rules, stay at home as much as possible, and when you go out, stay a distance from people, wear your mask, do the things that are really just common sense. And if we don't, we're just going to continue having this crisis in our community. And I don't know how long we can sustain that. So I think if everyone plays by the rules, we will get out of this. But what I've seen through this is the goodness of people, and people wanting to do the very best that they can to make this community healthy and safe. So I'm delighted to be a part of something that is greater than any of us. We've never seen this. And I'm sure because of the goodwill of so many people and the expertise of our medical community, I am always amazed at the work that they are doing, the research that is going on to make California, to make Huntington Beach, and to make this nation stronger so that we can come out of this crisis and be whole once again.
We face a life-threatening situation today, and I'm reminded of a life-threatening situation that I encountered in my life. In the Korean War, I was assigned to the USS Fire Crest, a small wooden minesweeper, and we had the duty of sweeping North Korean coasts, and we visited North Korea about 15 different times. And of course, the North Koreans are not too happy with sweeping. They're expecting a landing, so they shoot at you. And they shot at us a few times, but luckily nothing bad ever happened. But you begin to understand that it's a life-threatening situation, and you measure yourself about how you react to that. And the way you react to it is, of course, be prepared, use common sense, and you're frightened, of course you're frightened, but common sense and logic prevail. So now we move fast forward to today, and we have again a life-threatening situation, which is a little different kind of an enemy, but nevertheless there. And common sense and logic and minimal emotions are in order. And I might say, and I've always felt this way strongly, I've had the opportunity to represent the citizens of Huntington Beach, both on the school boards and city council, for probably 20 years plus. And I found that the folks in Huntington Beach are really a wonderful electorate. They're articulate, they're bright, they're well informed, they ask good questions, and sometimes we disagree, but we always disagree pleasantly. So I have great faith that the citizens of Huntington Beach are going to handle this thing well. I might add, and for those who are not aware of it, that we have an excellent fire and police departments who have resources a phone call away. We have a faith community. You can get on the internet and take a look at the Greater Huntington Beach Interfaith Council if you need counseling from the faith community. We have 5 hospitals within literally within minutes of where we are, so we're actually in pretty good shape.
Hi, Janine Johnson. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and part of the Greater Huntington Beach Interfaith Council Executive Board. In this continuing pandemic, we have had an opportunity to maybe take some time to reflect on our lives and have some self-examination, to stop and do the things that we want to do that really make the most matter in our lives. We've kind of been to a forced solitude where we have the opportunity to get rid of our superficial busyness and focus on things that are of more eternal value. It's kind of like we've been put into a mandatory Sabbath where we've stopped our normal daily cares and we focus on maybe blessings that we've been given and things that we have taken for granted before, and our dependency upon God. This pandemic has given us the chance to develop our faith and to show more demonstration of faith in many ways. Many times in this world, we don't use our faith as much as we could. We don't worry about parting the Red Sea, but we have engineers that can build us a bridge over it. But maybe we need to be reminded that even those beautiful built bridges can collapse. And in some ways, this has been a collapse. The Lord is our bridge. He is our tower. He is our strength. He is our rock that puts us on the rock of our Redeemer. We always think that we want to have time to think about these things and to focus on what really matters most. Well, now we have the time. The prophet Joseph Smith said, "Let us do all things cheerfully that lie in our power, and then we may stand still with the utmost assurance to have salvation in God and to see his arm that is revealed." God is aware of COVID-19. He is aware of you. He knows you by name. He loves you. And He has a plan for you. It is with that assurance that helps me every single day, that gives me hope and strength and encouragement to go forward and even help others along my way. That assurance is what I need. And I am so grateful for this chance that we have a time to stop and be aware of other people in this world and how we can bless their lives and help and care for them. Throughout this world, we have seen ministering heroes step up every single day and do amazing things to help and bless others. I'm reminded of this lasting value that's in my life, and this is where I want to focus my energy the very most. Years ago, I memorized a poem. No time for God, what fools are we, to clutter our lives with common things and leave without the Lord of life and life itself. No time for God, as if to say no time to sleep, to eat, to breathe, to love, to die. Take time for God, or a poor misshapen thing you'll be, to step into eternity and say, I had no time for thee. Thank you for letting me share my faith with you.
I'd like to begin. Hi, I'm Father Joe Nair from St. Bonaventure Church here in Huntington Beach, pastor here of St. Bonaventure Church. As pastor over here, I've been here about 10 years as pastor of St. Bonaventure Church, and recently, of course, with the COVID-19, things have just really changed. Just prior to COVID-19, or actually for the last year and a half, we've been remodeling and seismic retrofitting our church. As you know from people that live in this area, the soil can be very boggy, and that was true under our church as well, so we had to put a whole new foundation under the existing church. It took a lot longer than we thought it was going to, but it turns out that the same day that the governor and the bishop said no more, people aren't allowed no longer to congregate, we need them to stay home, was the same day we got full occupancy, we got our certificate of occupancy from the city of Huntington Beach. So the irony of, yes, you now have permission to bring people in your church, but no, you don't have permission because the governor and the bishop have both said no. So, but in the midst of that irony, it gave us the opportunity to continue to reach out to people. And what we've been doing is live stream masses. My outreach message is that on the one hand, I realize stay at home has been very difficult for everybody. It's been true even for the priests. We live just right next door to the church, and it's been the same thing of having to not really get out that much. It takes a lot of patience, and most especially of realizing that in the midst of everything that's happening, that definitely God is with us, He's watching over us, He's caring for us. And so the message would be just really probably the same thing that you've said to others, hang in there. We see light at the end of the tunnel, that hopefully things will, we have the social distancing right now, but eventually maybe that'll get freed up a little bit. We'll still be careful around each other, but we'll get a little bit closer to each other. But just lots of patience and realize we're doing this for the right reasons. We want to be safe, but definitely this has taught us really patience. Also recognize how important hygiene is. I do have my mask right here as well, that we're trying to do everything we can to be safe and not spread the virus. But the message is that we really are hopeful, and that in the midst of all of this, that the Lord is very much with us and is going to bring us on through this. Right now, for the sake of distancing, keep in mind that the Lord forgives you your sins. We long for the day where we can come back together and in person hear those words of, you are forgiven.
we are better together, even when we are not. The Greater Huntington Beach Interfaith Council was created by the city over 20 years ago to be a bridge between us and our faith-based groups. Perhaps for moments just like this, we have been given precious moments to renew, regenerate, revisit our lives, family, friends, places of worship, and neighbors as we get closer to reopening this wonderful place we call home and great country. Let's find the new normal together. God bless us all.
Keep the faith.
We
Are
Better together.